I broke my back.
What do you mean by that?
My back is broken.
What do you mean, calm it down? It's a fight. Referees telling two fighters who want to fight to calm it down. He should calm down.
I saw he's like a clown in his show, man. He's not your guy.
Tyson Fury's back, and all you motherfuckers are under attack.
Look, Eddie Hearn can say all what he likes. Who gives a shit what Eddie Hearn says? It's garbage.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
Can you let me retire and be happy? Please, just please.
Bombs away from the Bronx Bomber!
Wanda! Let's go, baby! Let's go!
I'm through. They put somebody else up and give me an interview.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
You never give me a fair shake. HBO needs to fire you. You don't know shit about boxing. You ain't shit. You're not shit.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
I got dropped, man.
Are you kidding?
No, you won the fight.
OMG, I am so excited.
Any of you radio personalities think you want smoke? Call me Mr. Chimney. I want smoke.
Yes. What is up, MCR family? It's another edition of Mixed Combat Radio live on YouTube, Blog Talk, and obviously you can call in on Skype as well, 323-870-4051 to call in domestically. Skype, Mixed Combat Radio. I'm Matt, the Hipster Hunter, and obviously we're going to be discussing all things boxing today, previewing Canelo Jacobs, all the action this weekend, and plus, obviously, Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz is confirmed, official. But we knew that. We've known that for some time, let's be honest. And plus, some more information has come out about the Ortiz offer. The rumored $7 million offer was true. So I feel like a lot of the Matchroom zealots feel vindicated, as they should be. And I cannot wait to dive into all of these topics today. Like I said, call in, hit the like button, share the show, subscribe. Of course, I'm joined today, as usual, as always, on our boxing shows by the lovely, the illustrious, the Han Solo of the group, Mr. Robbie Hearn, second cousin, twice removed of Sir Eddie. Rob, how are you doing?
Yeah, doing good. Glad to be back. Had a couple of days away from boxing news, but we're back. And plenty of things to talk about as usual, all the big names involved and who's not fighting who offered what and who turned it down and who's a duck and whatever. We'll talk about that. But yeah, obviously a big week, big weekend coming up, the big fight, the zone holding out, hoping for all these subscribers. So yeah, let's where do you want to start, man?
Obviously, let's start with the AJ stuff first, because he's the big name. Let's be honest, a lot of our listeners from the UK, we have over most of our YouTube listeners, at least, not our podcast listeners, but our YouTube listeners are from the UK. So of course they want to talk about AJ, they want to talk about Ruiz, they want to talk about Ortiz. So let's talk about that stuff. Let's talk about this now, I would say, in a way, infamous USA debut, only because of everything that has transpired before the fight, because of the Miller PD test, because of now the Ortiz situation in a way. It has just been marred, in a sense, by controversy. Of course, no fault by AJ or Eddie Hearn or Matchroom or DAZN, but just because of the theater of the unexpected that is boxing. We got chaos here. And now I think when we talk about AJ's USA debut, in hindsight, we're going to have to add the context of Miller's PD test, the Ortiz situation negotiations. It has just become so much more than just a fight and a USA debut. It's become so much more than that. But of course, what we do know is that beside all of that, we have a fight still. We have Andy Ruiz that has been announced, been finalized. Obviously, Mike Coppinger was the first to report that the deal was basically done. I think on Friday we reported that.
Yeah, he said terms agreed.
Yeah.
Been agreed.
But it's been firmly official today, or yesterday, I believe, last night.
Yes.
And, I mean, I like the fight. I know a lot of people don't like the fight. Whatever. I mean, people didn't like the Miller fight. So I'll put it this way. If you did not like the Miller fight and you don't like this fight, I understand. You just have a very high standard for boxing. You're a snob. I get it. I'm not here to argue with you type of people. Just not. But the people that did like the Miller fight, like me, like you, Rob, like others who are more reasonable, I think, level-headed people, I think we should all actually be far happier with this matchup. I know it's not the grudge match in a way that Miller had built itself into. We don't have that drama and that storyline in it anymore. But on paper, Ruiz is the better fighter. On paper, Ruiz is the tougher matchup than Big Baby Miller. So I'm all in favor of this fight on 5 weeks' notice. I know I wanted Luis Ortiz. I know a lot of people wanted Luis Ortiz. We will touch on that and the $7 million offer and all of that fun stuff in a second. But just on the Ruiz confirmation, I think it's a perfect late notice opponent switch. And to be honest, it's arguably an improvement. How often does that happen in boxing? That just doesn't. It doesn't happen often. So I'm all in favor of it. Rob, your thoughts on the confirmation, the finalization of AJ Ruiz?
Well, first of all, Matt said he's not here to argue with anyone that wants, that this isn't good or this, I'm sure if you call in, Matt will drop that theory and he will debate the shit out of it. But look, I don't know. It's not the fight when you think Josh is going to make his American debut. I don't think in anyone's wildest dreams or some kind of prophet thinking about it, who's he going to be? Andy Ruiz? No one would ever said that. And obviously, Miller was chosen because of his mouth, because he's a 300-pound guy,
New Yorker.
Yeah, and he sold the shit out of it straight away. First press conference, shoves AJ. Goes on a big rant, bangs it, tries to Hulk smash the table, does all this crazy stuff. But let's not forget why we have got Andy Ruiz. It's because Gerald Miller then basically blew the lottery ticket. He had the winning lottery ticket in his pocket and, I don't know, lost his trousers and just decided to fill himself with everything possible to gain an advantage. So that's why we're here. So for all the haters, you need to get past it, just accept it for what it is. But maybe if you don't quite know, go on YouTube or Daily Motion, whatever, and find some Andy Ruiz fights. Because, yes, Joshua is going to be a lot taller, a much bigger reach, much more, I guess, physical specimen, what you would maybe associate with a professional athlete. But don't get it twisted. Andy Ruiz, he likes to fight, right? He'll throw a whole bunch of punches. He'll do everything he can to get inside. Obviously, the long reach of Joshua, and he'll come for a fight. And whether you want to believe Eddie or not, he said this was the consideration. He felt from other offers to other people that they were just interested in the money. They were going to come for the money, basically lay down but take home a healthy sum of money for it. But he doesn't want that for MSG, American debut. He wants someone that's going to come and bring a fight. And I think people, if you've watched Andy Ruiz, I think you'll agree that is that guy. He will come and give it a go. I know another Eddie concern was people are like the casuals are going to look at Andy Ruiz and go, hang on a minute, this guy's a boxer. He's not that body beautiful that you see from other fighters when they're all, like, wait, this guy trains, does he really? But he, sponsored by Snickers. He's trying to get that Snickers. I
like it.
Endorsement. I believe he done the PBC on Fox or whatever show and hit the bag that counts your power.
Yeah.
And he took a couple of bites of a Snickers bar before he did it, and he racked up like the bigger score. And people have put it out there because Joshua done it on the Graham Norton show over here, and Ruiz scored a bigger score than Joshua. So that's doing the rounds. Dun dun dun. So yeah. Sure. Ruiz hits harder than Joshua, so look out for that one. But I like the fight. He's never been stopped. I believe he's never been stopped.
We only has one loss. And it's
I
controversial.
mean, he's never been knocked out or knocked down or whatever.
Yeah.
And he lost on points to whether you think
Joseph
controversially, it was a close fight with Joseph Parker. And he gave it a good go against Parker, you know. So yeah, I'm not like, oh wow, I cannot wait for this, but I'm not like, oh, this is shit, I'm not even going to tune it. You know, it's fine. It's a late replacement. It's a decent enough replacement, and there's a big argument out there that this guy's going to be a better fight than what Gerald Miller would have been. So I don't necessarily. I think the statement would have been Joshua stops a 315-pound mouthy American, which the whole package was there. You know.
Well, of course. I mean, AJ Miller was a bigger subscription sort of gain or driver in a sense in terms of content than this fight. It is. Like, we know that. We don't need to really debate that in any great lengths in time, because I think we're all in a consensus that the Big Baby's mouth was, in a sense, the reason why they sold, or why they picked him, in a sense. They knew that he was going to sell a fight for AJ in the U.S., in New York, better than anyone else. And that's just a fact. However, in terms of pure competitive, pure in-ring material, what's going to happen, this is arguably a better fight. And I will happily go on that hill and argue that's just a fact. You know, what's Big Baby's best win? Gerald Washington? You know, Andy Ruiz's best wins, what, Demetrio, who we just beat? Or, you know, the loss to Joseph Parker? Woohoo. You know, like, neither of their resumes are that great, but you can look at their fighting style. You look at the tape. And if you tell me that Gerald Miller is a tougher fight than Andy Ruiz, you don't know shit about boxing. That's just a cold, hard fact. So I'm all in favor of it. And, of course, AJ is still the heavy favorite. Like, I'm not saying, like, Ruiz is now the guy to beat AJ. Of course not. Let's be honest. If you're not Deontay Wilder or Tyson Fury, you're not beating AJ. However, does that mean we shouldn't want to watch these fights? Of course not. Andy Ruiz is at worst a top 20 heavyweight. You know, at best a top 10 heavyweight. You know, I'm all in favor of those types of fights while we can, especially on late notice. So I'm not, you know, anyone that hates on this, they just don't understand the sport. They just don't. Or they're nitpicking the sport. You know, they'd have double standards within it.
And if you know, you're disappointed, I get it, but you might have to get used to it for a while, because it doesn't look like the two names that Matt just mentioned, the Tyson Furies, the Deontay Wilders, ain't happening anytime soon. So we're going to be seeing Joshua do his mandatories. We're going to be seeing, I don't know about even voluntaries. I think he might go through some, get the mandatories and just tick them off and just see what happens. So it's almost like, I don't know, whether you believe the Matchroom side, the Eddie Hearn side, the Joshua side, that they've tried to make the fights, they've really tried to make it, or whether you're in the camp that believes it's all been a bluff, it's all this, that, and the other, the low ball offers, the this, the that, and the other. But it just seems like Wilder's going in his direction and doing his thing. So I think Joshua should almost go and do his thing. And at some point, maybe the fight will be that big that it's too big to ignore, and it will get made. But I'm just having my doubts. And the longer these guys fight, the more likely one of them's going to lose and fuck the whole thing up, personally. But yeah, it's I don't know. And I wonder if Ruiz, back to Ruiz, but he's already come out and said a few little things like Joshua's robotic, you know, a bit of a robot. And Joshua's replied and said, "Oh, if he's going to start talking crazy, then I'm going to," you know, it's trying to build some.
I saw that was definitely, in my opinion, trying. You know what I mean? Like, that was
Try and pick up the win.
That was a little bit on the surface. Like, come on, man. Like, Andy Ruiz is one of the nicest guys in the sport. You know what I mean? Like, you watch him and, like, he might say something like a little sly, but he's too nice. He's a teddy bear. Like, you can't be mad at Andy Ruiz. So that was AJ trying to sell the fight. I get it, AJ. Do you, man? But come on.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. But I mean, I enjoyed Andy Ruiz's response tonight off the back of a post by Tyson Fury mocking him, like saying, you know, the character from the Pixar movie Up. He's now fully grown up and now fighting Joshua for the unification.
That was good.
And Ruiz has clapped back. Have you got it there, Matt? Or
I don't have it up, but I can. Is it the one that you just sent right before the show, right?
Yeah.
Basically, Andy came at me like, "Really, Tyson? Like, you're gonna come at me for my physique, my weight, when you have advocated for mental health and, you know, getting fit? Really?
Positive vibes, and you know, picking on my weight."
And it was like, ooh, the truth hurts. But
the more I see of this Andy Ruiz Jr., the more I like. He's come out with a few replies to people that have either said, "Yeah, you don't deserve it," or whereas I think people saying, "Shout out to you! You stepped up, and you're having an opportunity." So, yeah, good luck to him.
Yeah, and I think Andy was, I mean, really, he was done dirty by Top Rank. I mean, they really kept him inactive. They hindered his career in a lot of ways post that Parker loss. And it was just weird. You know, I really don't know what to make of that. But let's talk about Ortiz. Let's talk about this offer, the $7 million. The first offer being $6 million. We do have some sound bites to play from the IFL interview with Eddie. So let's play some of them as I get to it and find it. Here we go.
First phone call I got 2 phone calls when this news broke straight away. One was Don King and one was Jay Jimenez, who is Luis Ortiz's manager. Okay, Jay Jimenez phoned me up and said, "Oh, can't believe this. I don't think Luis will be ready." So I'm like, okay, well look, I'm going to speak to AJ. I hadn't even spoken to, I think I spoke to AJ maybe an hour or so before, who said, "Get me anyone." But I haven't really spoke to him in depth. So I said, "Look, find out if Luis will be ready." Okay. He came back, I think the next day or 2 days later, and said, "Make us an offer, blah, blah, blah." I made him an offer, $6 million. That was my first offer.
Your first offer?
My first offer.
Next one, because that was the first offer, is the $6 million. We have another one. Let's just play it just so we can just run through it.
On Thursday, the 18th, he sent me a message saying, "If Joshua is really interested, send over a simple offer. We'll make with a real offer number. We can make it happen." Okay. So this was like Thursday. So this was 48 hours or so after we found out. It was actually quite far down the road with other people by then. So I come back and said, "No problem. I'm down the road with another offer. Are you now saying he will take it?" So he come back and says, "Luis says yes, but I need to get back to them with a number. Call me when you free up." So I said, "No problem, we'll do. Have a think what your number is." So I went back next day. This is where we're at, $6 million. Okay, no reply. This was on Friday. I don't know what happened in between. Monday I said, I'll call you at 5 PM Eastern time. So obviously we haven't really spoke. So then, later on, that was at 2 o'clock in the morning. So later on that day, I come back and said, "Right, this is it. 7 million for June 1. Okay, come back for quite a bit more. A rematch for quite a bit more. And if he loses, I'll give you another fight for a lot of money, the security," which is in here. Talk about nothing back. Okay. The next day, I send him a screenshot of the Instagram post that they put up. Right, remember that one?
Yeah.
Saying, "It's a no-go for June 1. Sorry guys, we were told to stay as quiet as possible." Well, we actually said to each other, me and Jay, "Let's keep this between us because we want to get this done."
Fair enough.
Fair enough, right? Because everyone, and play possum, I'm not sure who told him to that, because every time someone called Luis out, it was just a gimmick that didn't work. Received news from promoter that it's a no-go and was all a gimmick, and Hearn's lowball offers will not be accepted. Sorry to the loyal fans, Lewis really wanted this title shot, right? So I've sent him that with a thing saying, really? Question mark? Yeah. So he's come back and said, sorry mate, that's not from me, it's from the promoter. Me and Lewis, it's not me or Lewis, I felt 7 was good enough for Joshua, but we can't make the last call. And then something else about him and Lewis, which I'm not going to disclose. That's it.
I mean, it sounds like what we sort of knew already, which sort of Eddie alluded to, what even Jay said in the Boxing Scene article that was posted after the media scrum at the Rungas via Estrada press conference about how Dade Promotions was largely at fault for this fuck up, right? And Eddie echoes that in a lot of ways, and the receipts show that. The text messages show that. Or email. I don't know whether it's text or email. Look, I think it's pretty simple that the $7 million offer was a great offer. Like, he should have took it. I might have pushed back on the loss, with the option on him on Ortiz, even though he loses. Because maybe if you lose, you want to go back to PBC and do other things. You know what I mean? Maybe you come back with a counter to that point. But again, that's something you could negotiate. That's not a hold up in the fight. Very minor point. Tabling that doesn't really need to be discussed. But the offer was great. And it sounds like everyone's in agreement that Dade Promotions, a very minor promotional company, is largely at fault here for the failure in negotiation for Luis Ortiz. And this is pretty consistent with a lot of small-time promoters involved with big fighters and big fights. Caribe Promotions with Rigondeaux. I forget the name of the promotional company with Canelo. Remember that he finally got away from last year in that huge lawsuit. Remember that? Was it like One Star? It was a weird promotional company.
Yeah, I can't remember.
This happens consistent. Don King. I mean, we have Amir Rahman out here literally suing Don King because he only got $27,000 out of a $300,000 check. Promoters screw over fighters. So that to me is Occam's razor. That's the simplest answer for a lot of reasons why fights don't happen, is that promoters fail in the negotiation table because of hubris, because of ego, and especially small-time promoters, when they get big fights, when they see that big-time paycheck, they think we can push for even more. And that's what largely happens. I don't think this is Luis Ortiz ducking like a lot of people want to sort of frame. Because even Eddie Hearn's not saying that. You know what I mean? Like, no party here is saying that Luis Ortiz specifically did not want the fight. Jay is saying we want the fight. Jay is saying Luis Ortiz wants the fight. Eddie Hearn is saying and echoing that same sentiment. And they're all saying Dade Promotions is the one that's holding this all up. We don't even hear Al Heyman in this discussion at all. Like, that's interesting. Like, we haven't heard him be mentioned either as a holdup or as a positive influence. He's just not around at all. And at least in what has been discussed to the media. So yeah, this is a huge clusterfuck, man. And we could have got the Luis Ortiz fight because that was a great offer. Luis Ortiz wanted it, and his team fucked it up. Way to go.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. I mean, I know there's people saying Ortiz didn't have enough time to cycle out, any stuff he was on. But remember, Luis Ortiz is ranked by the WBC. He's in the clean boxing program. He's in the top 15 or something like that. That you kind of have to be.
Yeah, he's tested by VADA year round.
How many tests he's had since his, who knows? Only like VADA or Team Ortiz can clarify how many times he has been.
Time out very quick before you go on, because I see people pushing back on my sentiment. Big Nick, because Big Nick hates me in the chat, saying, I agree with that, but now we have to see or hear that Ortiz has sacked his promotional company. That's not how it works, guys. If you have a deal and a written contract with a promotional company for a set number of fights or a set number of years, you can't just terminate that, guys. Canelo Alvarez, in the last 20 years, top 5 biggest star in the sport, had a multi-year lawsuit with his former promotional company. And that took Again, multi-years to get through. He had to settle out of court. He had to settle and give him millions of dollars. So stop, guys. Or Dade Promotions can completely be fucking up here, and Ortiz cannot do much about it. That happens. There are predatory contracts in this sport, guys. There are predatory promoters in this sport, guys. Why are we being ignorant here?
When
Andre Ward had to sit out 3 years for his fucking career because of this, guys. What are you talking about?
Just very quick, just on that about about sacking him, but apparently it's up for renewal at some point, but this is where this is going to lead, obviously, with what we've got about what Shelley Finkel said, but he's apparently been promised the Wilder fight, and Jay Jimenez kind of suggested if they've sat tight and they're not getting and they're getting a Wilder offer, it better be 7 million, because if not, he said about taking them to court, they won't renew with Dade Promotions, this, that, and the other. So I think he said the contract or something is up in, I can't remember, like September or something like that. But I don't know. It's a mess. And in light kind of what Barry Hearn alluded to earlier in the week at the press conference, some of these fighters are kind of basically owned. I'm not going to say the words Barry said because I've seen the clap back that he got. but
well, like I said, there's predatory contracts in the sport, guys. Whether it's managers, agents, promoters, publicists, media companies, guys, there's predatory contracts in all walks of life. All walks of life. We've experienced them in this boxing media industry. So don't tell me that Luis Ortiz can't experience that. When Andre Ward has, when Canelo has, when Guillermo Rigondeaux has. And those are just recent names that are still active today fighting, guys. Or not Andre Ward, but he stopped fighting, 2 years ago? Stop. Stop being ignorant about the malpractice that goes on within boxing and how that largely is the reason why great fights don't get made. Not because fighters are scared. Come on. That's such a 13-year-old argument. Come on. Be a mature boxing fan. Not you, Rob.
No. I look very mature.
No.
Yeah, no, what was I going to say?
I don't know. I interrupted you. I apologize.
You did. You threw me off. No, I mean, look, I got out of my my previous deal and moved on to greener pastures. I don't know. We'll see.
No.
At Team YouTube.
Fugatti adding another one. Mike Garcia, another one with Bob Arum and Top Rank. He had to wait out. I mean, I don't know if it was as long as Andre Ward, but it was 2 years?
Great contribution, Phil.
This is great banter. It really is.
It really is.
But back to Ortiz. I mean, do you have any last thoughts about Ortiz, the offer?
It's a shame. It's a shame. It would have been great. I think, again, this kind of alludes to, as much as that's a better fight than Ruiz, as far as someone who can actually try and do some kind of mini build up towards it. It's always hard when it's coming through a translator. It's always, you know what I mean? Ruiz, if he's going to have something to say, he'll be able to say it and everyone will understand it. I think, bilingual, he can speak in the Spanish and the English. So Ortiz is just going to stand there looking less boogeyman by the second. Yeah, I don't know. It's very odd. Somehow a lot of time, you see it. This is still Joshua and Eddie Hearn's fault. People not getting the fight that they want. So that's where we lie. But I don't know. It's people. We just need to get on with it now. Look forward to Joshua's American debut. We've obviously got Wilder's mandatory defense around the corner this month. In fact, a couple of weeks away. So yeah, but as far as Wilder, I think the next sort of topic is Shelley Finkel's comments, saying that talks, or it's in the works, that it will be Ortiz next and Kalnaki to follow. He suggested that he's still on good talking terms with sort of Team Fury, and kind of alluded that that fight might even happen this year for the Fury rematch. But Tyson Fury's already put out his next date, September the 28th, for once he gets past the stiff test of Tom Schwartz. So to already be talking about a quick turnaround and a date, I think we can look at another warm-up fight for Tyson Fury in September. Got to fill out that contract, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, Shirley Finkel, just to add to it, Shirley Finkel was on the Boxing Voice yesterday or someday. I don't care. And said basically that Deontay Wilder is going to have a full plate this year, so 2020 is what they're looking at for AJ. Hold on very quickly.
Just say Luis Ortiz maybe finishes off at the job that he got started in the first fight somehow, beats Wilder. There's a rematch. Kalnaki gets past Wilder's big swinging bombs, gets inside and lets go flurries of punches, beats Wilder. There's a rematch. This could be 2021 even. So I don't know. I just wonder and hold out the hope that DAZN come in with some $45-50 million one-off fight, because one slight little glimmer from Shelley Finkel's words were that he and John Skipper have been talking pretty much, constantly since the meeting. He's really likes John Skipper. He's building up a real nice relationship with him, and he kind of alluded to the fact that the fight could happen on DAZN with Joshua. Wasn't Nez on the Boxing Voice, he kind of said, wait, so not Showtime? And he kind of went, well, me and John are building up a good relation. And it was like, well, it doesn't necessarily mean it is going to be on Showtime. But I don't know. Maybe he thought, shit, I've said quite a lot of things now. Let's say something that sounds good. I don't know. But yeah, from the heavyweight division looking like it was going to be at one point really catching fire, and I don't know, the people involved are trying their best to throw water all over it, and a lot of people, I've seen a lot of it, that people are just like, I'm fucking bored of it now, just make some fights, whatever. We'll obviously still tune in and if we get a big one every now and then, whatever, but we're on board of this whole merry-go-round. That whole 50 million to offer to AJ all came up again.
Hey, Rob. Hey.
The
good thing about this is that at least makes our job easier that we don't have to talk about it for the rest of the year.
I know, yeah.
We don't, because everyone made it very clear. 2019 is a setup year. Cool. Okay. Crawford Spence, not happening. Mikey Loma, that's probably never happening now. Let's be honest. Leo Gary Russell Jr., even though it's in-house, setup year. They're not going to fight each other this year at all.
They're going to fight each other. They're both being groomed for making Tank Davis look good.
Yeah, man. So, again, where's the Charles Martin soundbite? I need that right now. My soul needs that, Rob. That one needs to be on deck for you.
Fuck that shit. Fuck boxing. Fuck boxing.
Yo, man. Charles Martin is the wisest guy in this entire sport. He needs his own podcast. I would listen to 2 hours every day of Charles Martin just ranting. Wouldn't you?
Not 2 hours.
An hour? You don't have to listen to all of it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Just a little, liven you up in the mornings. Bit of Charles.
Charles.
Ranting. Sorry, King Charles. Down.
He walks Earth like a god. But anyways, let's get to the fights this weekend. If you want, unless you want to talk about anything else with Ortiz and AJ, Ruiz, Wilder, Tyson Fury, the heavyweights not fighting each other.
While the elite top 3, 4 are all fucking around, this is like time for the Dillian Whites to shine, for the obviously Dave Allen's to come and grab that spotlight, because these guys are just going to be mucking around, Kalnaki, I think, out in July. I don't. Who was he fighting? Oh, Hellenius. No, never mind. Not his time to shine. Yeah.
White with Ruiz is arguably like one of the most intriguing heavyweight matchups of the year so far.
Yep.
Think about that. And I did not like that fight when it was first announced. And then I started thinking about like, oh my God, it might be the best one. That is so sad.
I don't know.
Boxing.
Look, it's been alluded to. In theory, Dave Allen is 3 fights away from the Joshua fight. He beats David Price. He then beats Chisora. No. He then knocks out Parker or Povetkin.
He doesn't need that long of a road. Come on, guys. What? You
really
thinking that?
As long as people are turning down $7 million, he could be next.
Hey, I wouldn't be surprised if they throw in a AJ like homecoming UK fight in like September, right? Maybe September, probably September, maybe August, with like a Dave Allen. So it's a quick turnaround, but it's Dave Allen, so he can do it.
It's not Dave Allen. Stop.
But hey. Or somebody that's, like Chisora or Dave Allen. Somebody that isn't that good.
Charles Martin, too.
Let's not go that deep into the well, please. Just not. I don't want that. And then maybe like a Dylan White rematch in the end of the year. Maybe first quarter next year. I don't know, but it's not going to be anything super fun, guys.
No. I mean, what do you think to... We want the Joshua fight, obviously, but what do you think to Wilder doing an Ortiz rematch, Kalnaki, as opposed to obviously making the undisputed fight? But
are we saying it compared to making the undisputed fight, or compared to what AJ could do this year? Are we going to make that comparison and have that argument for a second?
We can do, yeah. We can do it that way. Man.
So Wilder most likely would knock Ortiz in the next 12 months, right? Most likely. AJ's what? We have a Ruiz, obviously, but Wilder obviously has Brazil too, so like those kind of cancel each other out. We're talking about future fights, right? White is obviously in-house still, in a sense, even though White's on a fight-by-fight basis. There obviously is a good working relationship between them. So
does Usyk take his... Because it sounds like he's the WBO once he takes that.
No, you're right.
Decision. That could be end of the year, Usyk.
That could be the summer. I mean, arguably. I mean, they could throw AJ Usyk in like August at like Wembley or O2 or something like that. They could do that.
It won't be that early after the camp and the fight with Andy Ruiz.
You remember, it's June 1st. You still have all of June. You still have July, August. Maybe they throw in September, like I said, give an extra cushion late September. It's similar to because Canelo is obviously going to fight September because of Mexican Independence Day. You're going to throw it around that fight. I think they're going to do similar sort of rotation of Canelo, AJ, Usyk, all the big names in rotation.
The own subscriber, biannual push.
I think that's how they're going to do it. To be honest, you're going to see the framing of the year in that way. Where like April through June is big months, and like August through like October are really big months. I wouldn't be surprised if an AJ Usyk fight. So we have to be in theory here. So AJ is what are we thinking here? What if you are realistically Eddie Hearn's advisor, and again realistically map out his next 12 months after Ruiz. Is it White and Usyk? Well, Usyk then White.
I think Usyk. Yeah, I think I guess it depends on his decision. Does he want to? He'll obviously see how he feels after the Takam fight. But we'll throw in, I guess, Usyk, White. Not sure when the Pulev IBF mandatory comes.
Let's ignore that as much as possible. Because no one wants Pulev to be involved in anything that's relevant in 2019. So let's just go with those two names. That's the next 12 months, right? So that would put us in 2020. right? When the fight can now be made, according to Shelly Finkel and everyone else, right? Whose year was better? Whose fiscal 12 months was better? Is AJ's with Andy Ruiz, Alexander Usyk, Dylan White, or is it Deontay Wilder with Dominic Breazeale, Wanaki, and Ortiz? I think it's comparable, but I think AJ has the better one by a ledge, like by a slight smidgen because of Usyk. I think Usyk adds some accolades with it.
Who, by the way, has been inserted at number 2 in the WBA heavyweight rankings.
And I just don't think Wanaki, Ortiz, or Breazeale have like the hardcore name cachet that Usyk does. Even though that means nothing to the casuals, I know that. But to us hardcores, I think that does add something to it. But again, I think it's comparable. I think both guys are going to have fine years. Like, they're going to make money. They're going to do a lot of views. I don't think Wilder's going to fight on pay-per-view with Ortiz.
Ortiz won his pay-per-view, but
I think they won't make that pay-per-view. I'm gonna go prediction here, wild prediction here. Hot take. I don't think that's pay-per-view. I think they realize internally, you know what, guys? This isn't a good idea. We had Wilder Fury with the press tour, and that only did this number. No offense to you, Ortiz, but you're, Cuban American now. You don't really speak English. You're not really going to sell the fight in pay-per-view that way. Sorry. I think they put that on Showtime or Fox. I think they figure a way around it, and they still pay him a lot of money. They reallocate budget somewhere. They get investor money, whatever it may be, and they find a bag for everyone to be happy.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe I'm wrong, but hopefully,
which is interesting. Wilder called Breazeale the basic cable fighter, and that's why this fight isn't on pay-per-view. So he's then going to fight Ortiz,
Time out.
going to be on pay-per-view.
Very, very funny because it's not on basic cable. It's on premium cable.
Yeah, but
like that's the low risk, high reward,
Yeah, yeah, but yeah. Look, you said fiscal. That means like money, right?
Yeah, well, fiscal just means like whether it's the company year, so it's not like the calendar year. So it's not January through December. It could be March through March.
Yeah. All right. Well, monetary is obviously Joshua is going to be driving the big.
Well, of course he's going to get paid more guaranteed checks. Of course, that's without a doubt. We know that, and plus that's just how UK businesses run. They pay higher guarantees, less back end money. We know that. But I still think in terms of like competitiveness, good fights. Or Wilder Wanaki is a good fight. Whatever you want to shit on it, it's still a good fight. Wilder Ortiz, the rematch, is still a good fight. Separate it from the fact we don't get AJ Wilder. Separate it from that, it's still a good fight. Same with AJ. All those fights are still good. If we're in a world where a heavyweight can't fight a top 15 guy, fuck, guys, the standards here, man, are pretty snobby. We need to lower them a bit, especially guys for a heavyweight. It's heavyweights. We're gonna talk about Joe Joyce later with his next opponent. It's heavyweights, guys. We need a lower expectation of what can happen.
Yep. Let's move on. Let's get away from the heavyweights for a little bit.
Please do. Let's get into the fights this weekend. Canelo Alvarez versus Daniel Jacobs going down live on DAZN.
Is that this weekend? I thought we were going to talk Beterbiev.
That's funny. Is it on Sky?
Yep.
But is it pay-per-view or no?
Nope.
Okay, I assumed, but just want to make sure. I mean, I don't know where to start with this fight with the event. I don't know if we should go like more in a macro sense, like our feel of the event. I know that's sort of been the boxing Twitter, not narrative, but like discussion right now is like, oh, like, do you feel the hype for Canelo Jacobs now that's on DAZN? And I don't know if that's really fair to it. Because we're coming from Canelo Triple G, which was built up years They marinated that one for years
via HBO.
It's a hard comparison. And then Daniel Jacobs, no offense to Daniel Jacobs, but even if this was in the prime HBO, let's say DAZN never existed, Canelo just kept rolling over, and he fought Rocky Fielding on HBO, and then he fought Daniel Jacobs on HBO pay-per-view, right? Let's just say that's what happened. I don't think it's going to do massive pay-per-view numbers. You know what I mean? Like, it would still do decent for Canelo. It's going to do the 300 to 400 range. Similar to like what Liam Smith or Amir Khan fights did for.
That's harsh.
It's not that harsh.
I think it is.
I don't think it is. Maybe Daniel Jacobs doesn't like that, but that's just the harsh reality. You look at the guys that Canelo fought to do good numbers. It was Miguel Cotto. It was Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. It was Gennady Golovkin. It was Floyd Mayweather.
Jacobs is the equivalent of Liam Smith in America, as in numbers wise.
Yeah. In terms of pay-per-view, because remember, pay-per-view is different. You always have to put it in that context, right? Like, you can do good numbers on HBO, on Showtime, on Fox, but you go to pay-per-view, you don't translate. Terrence Crawford's a great example of that, right? Does great numbers on ESPN. Pay-per-view does not translate well, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Just want to know if you're following me here, Rob. I am talking to you sort of directly here. I think Daniel Jacobs, we do have a proven track record of him on pay-per-view already with Gennady Golovkin. It did 165,000 buys. That's not good. That's on the track record for not being a pay-per-view star. And he was the B side in that equation. He's still the B side in this equation with the bigger fighter. So yeah, it would do more. It would do again 300 to 450,000 buys, but that's it. That's not. It would not do more than that. Miguel Cotto didn't even do over 1 million. Think about that, guys. Canelo Alvarez versus Miguel Cotto only did 900,000 buys. Okay, I'm saying only like that's a bad thing. That was a great buy rate, but if you're in the mindset that Canelo Jacobs is this big super fight that would do 1 million buys in a traditional market or medium, I think you're mistaken. I think you're not. Your fundamental facts of your argument are just wrong. And again, no discredit to this fight, the zone's build up to it, the promotion of it. I think the promotion's been fine. There was a poll right now on our YouTube community section about whether you think that this fight has been promoted well. I definitely want you guys to go vote yes or no on that. Just want to get a gauge of that from our audience, whether you think this fight has been promoted properly. But I think it's a great fight on paper. It's just a fight that isn't a super fight, guys, and that's okay. It's a big fight for DAZN because it's Canelo with a really well-respected opponent, but it's not a well-known opponent. And those are two very different things. Rob, your thoughts more again about the promotion of the card, the hype for it or the lack of hype, sort of broad strokes for the event.
Well, for me, obviously, I don't have the zone. Sky have done a little bit this week, as it's obviously fight week. I've really enjoyed the LeBron James series or documentary that they've run on the DAZN. It's been on the YouTube channel, which I really appreciate because when that came out, I'm like, oh, I love these. I love how like you guys over in the States, you do the all access or the 24/7. Is it 30/30? ESPN do something called
30 for 30. That's more of like their documentary style for that, but that's for all sports. That's not just boxing.
Yeah. But I'm sort of a bit envious as a boxing fan seeing like the 24/7s and the all accesses and this stuff they're doing with Canelo over on DAZN because we don't necessarily get anything like that here, really. And I always enjoy it, seeing sort of it really. I you know me, I love promos and all that kind of thing. I love that stuff, but obviously the DAZN social media has been really active pushing this and Matchroom. So outside of actually not having the app, I feel You know, it's not like I've seen some people go, "Oh shit, is it this weekend?" But I made the joke earlier because of the Beterbiev going up against it, but I've seen like American fans. Oh fuck yeah, I forgot that. Is that this week? Is that this weekend? And I'm like, come on, I know necessarily. I'm always looking for stuff that obviously we're going to talk
You're
about
in
on
the
show.
bubble.
But yeah, no, I think so. It's got me interested in the fight. As far as how the fight goes, I don't know if you want to.
One thing before we jump into the fight itself, one thing I will sort of my critique of the promotion, and this is more broadly for DAZN as a whole. I think internally, like with their own social media platforms, their own media platforms, a la YouTube, etc. They run a really good operation, right? I think they do a fantastic job in-house of self-promotion. However, that is still in-house. So your reach is still limited because you are still DAZN in the U.S. market in 2019. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would like for them to start putting their fighters and their sort of brand in other media circuits, whether it's the ESPN circuit, and really push that down their throat, even though they hate you guys. You have to do that. You have to keep pushing down ESPN's door. The fact that we have Tracy Morgan, the actor and comedian, going on First Take today with Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman talking about Canelo Jacobs, and not Canelo Jacobs, or not Oscar, or not Eddie, not anyone actually connected to the fight promoting it, I think is a misstep. And that, again, is a specific example used for a broader, I think, issue that DAZN has, that they don't put enough of their faces in media circuits. They need to. They're an unknown commodity. Nobody knows who you guys are here. You're the new kid on the block, the new kid at school. You got to shake everyone's hand. You got to introduce yourself to everyone over and over again till they know you. And they're not doing that enough, in my opinion. If they did the radio tour, if they did the media tour, whatever it is, the late night show tour, whatever it is, push these fighters more on other media platforms, other corporations' platforms, because your platform is still very small in the U.S. That'd be my only one gripe about their promotion thus far, is I haven't seen enough outside of DAZN for me to think that the casuals are fully aware of what's happening. We know because we're following DAZN. DAZN does a very good job of telling us, their own subscribers, their own followers, what's happening, and all the angles of what's happening in really great quality. But outside of that, I don't think there's enough people that know about it.
Very quick, it's kind of made me laugh. They announced that they'll be doing closed circuit in selected movie theaters and certain bars. And it's good, but they're charging $50 for it. So no pay-per-view, but if you want to go and view it, you got to pay $50. That's got Golden Boy written all over it. Mr. De La Hoya, the pay-per-views are dead, but you've just done a UFC or an MMA pay-per-view with 2 geriatrics.
Pay-per-view's not dead until the promoters stop doing pay-per-views. The ones that are saying it's dead are still all doing pay-per-views, whether it's in the U.S. market or in different markets. They're still doing pay-per-views. But digressing, let's get to the fight itself. Canelo Alvarez versus Daniel Jacobs. I have flip-flopped on my perception of this fight a couple times. There's times I really think this is a competitive, close fight. Arguably one, in my opinion, that's going to be maybe tougher for Canelo in different ways than the Triple G fights. And then there's part of me that goes, nah, Canelo's going to slip under that jab and get on the inside of Jacobs and really rough him up. And it's going to be relatively early. 7 rounds, 8 rounds, and Canelo's going to get him out of there. I still, to this day, don't know exactly where I fall. To this day. I really like Jacobs, not only as a person because of his story, but as a fighter, I think he's an extremely talented guy. My issue with him historically has been that he doesn't really put it all together quite well. You know, he's one of those guys that has a lot of the natural talents, a lot of skills, but he can't seem to put it into a cohesive game plan at times. A la maybe even like a Robert Easter Jr., right? In a way, Rob, I don't know if you like that comparison for Daniel Jacobs, where you can tell there's a great fighter there. It just needs to be brought out in a way, and he doesn't want to get brought out a lot of times.
Well, this is the moment to do that, right?
Yes.
If you can't get up for this, or it comes out of you in this, then it's not going to. I don't think.
Absolutely agree.
Because he hasn't looked fantastic just in the near recent sort of past.
Since Triple G loss, he hasn't looked great since the Triple G loss. You can make that argument, and it's a very easy argument to make.
Well, if anyone's seen the interview with I forget who it was, but in the Mayweather gym, maybe
let's not. Let's move on. Let's just not. Nope, we're not. Nope, Rob. Not today. Okay, that was so funny, but no, he's not doing it.
That shit.
My official prediction is I think Canelo by decision because I'm going to go safe here.
Oh my god.
Stop! I know I lost my edge, guys. I'm sorry. But
since Easter Bartholomew, he never wants to commit.
Yo, man. I'm gonna be on my toes for the rest of my career because of fucking Robert Easter Jr. I swear to God.
And I will make sure you remain on those toes.
let me down so much, Easter. But yeah, I love this fight. I know it's not the fight for casuals in the way I think DAZN wants it to be, but that doesn't matter. It's a great fight, and we are in desperate need of a great fight because even though we had a great card with Rungs vs Estrada, that felt like a blip in the radar this year. To be honest, it felt like such a small drop in the bucket for the amount of bad boxing we've seen. So this is a good fight. The card's not the greatest, but it's a good fight.
Yeah, my thoughts on it. I personally think Canelo is on his way to peaking. I think he's just about coming into his best years. I think he's really about to reach his full potential. That being said, I think Jacobs can trouble him. I think he will be quite the bigger guy on the night. I think he'll move well.
His speed, he's so fast. That's the thing that Triple G really struggled with in their fights. That Triple G was just the slower guy. Like hand speed, his footwork, he was just the slower guy. Jacobs will not have that issue. That'll be interesting to see.
I said all that without moving my lips.
Sorry, Rob.
I'm joking.
I'll shut up. I'm going to mute my mic now so you can go. The floor is yours.
I'm messing. You threw me off. My own jokes, cracking jokes threw me off. No, I feel that Jacobs will present some issues, but ultimately, I think Canelo, like I say, with Jacobs moving, I don't know if you know, but Canelo, since the knee operation, been training with the knee strap. How good is Canelo's movement? I'm sure over 36 minutes, if it's needed, he'll be fine. But you know, your legs are your legs. You need them for the movement, for sitting on your shots. Everything comes from the legs. So is there an issue with the knee? I doubt it's too bad, but he just trains with it to obviously give it some support. But I just think Canelo's going to be too good. And I think the odds, the bookmakers see that. But will it go 12 rounds? I think there's a good chance. This goes all 12. So I think I'll go with a Canelo decision, maybe even a late stoppage. But I've got Canelo winning. But I'm torn because, like you, Matt, I'd love to see Jacobs do it just purely off what he's been through, just to get back to this position. Like he's came back and actually become a world champion. Anyway, so when you're told you're never going to walk again, or you probably won't walk again, and you definitely won't box again. Sorry if I'm sounding like Eddie Hearn on repeat right now. He's been pumping this out all week. But it is a story that somewhere else Jacobs would be a lot bigger than he is. But I don't know. Cold-hearted Americans don't give two fucks about Jacobs' story.
It's not the story. Let's be honest.
I'm joking.
He has the Terrence Crawford effect. He's just kind of bland, and America doesn't like bland. We like bombastic characters. We like out of the world personalities. Jacobs doesn't have that.
There's plenty of them out there. Whew. Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I like the guy. I think, sometimes you don't need everybody to be fucking screaming the house down and, going crazy and getting emotional and all kinds of weird stuff. I don't mind the odd, slightly reserved, polite. I think Jacobs has got it in him with the right person. I think he's got it in him to be antagonized and talk shit.
That Jamal Charlo fight, when it does happen, will be a fun build-up. Even for all the Jamal Charlo haters out there in our chat, you have to admit that build-up will be fun when it does happen.
You heard it here first. Charlo signs to the zone via Matt Hunter's sources.
Nope, that's not. Not what I said.
We'll talk about sources later and how they were eventually proved correct.
Yo, that was so funny. I forgot about that.
Here we go. We'll talk about that. That was funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, my pick, Canelo by decision, maybe even late stoppage. But yeah, a Canelo win. And I think he solidifies himself as pound for pound number one. If you want to go down that rabbit hole, I don't. I just said what I said, and I don't want to talk about it.
He already is pound for pound number one. That doesn't need to be solidified. That's already set in stone.
No, it solidifies it, makes it more solid, as in
makes it more solid.
That's what that means, right?
Thank you, Webster. The co-main event, because obviously the Dave Lemieux, was he injured?
Yeah, he got injured.
Because he fell out with the John Ryder fight. That was, I think, originally the co-main event, but that's been rearranged. Virgil Ortiz versus Maurice Herrera is now the co-main event. I think it's a good step-up fight in terms of name value, obviously, for Virgil Ortiz, but Herrera's shot. Like, he's no longer a good fighter. Plus, if you've seen him at events, and I've interviewed him, Santiago's interviewed him, he's at the bar more than he is anywhere else at a boxing event. Not shaming him, not shaming any of our drinkers out there. Drink on, but he drank a lot.
Give him a 6-pack of Stella and put him back in the cupboard.
And for a little guy, I mean, he drank a lot. That seems to be a reputation of his. I'll put it that way. So Ortiz should win this fight against Herrera in pretty dominant fashion. Quickly,
this is the Ortiz that Gary loves so much.
Yeah, he's not even on the show. He's not even listening.
Let's go, Herrera.
Quick rundown of the rest of the card. Pablo Cesar Cano versus Michael Perez. Joseph Diaz Jr. versus Freddie Fonseca. Quick side topic to that. They're obviously about to make the Tevin Farmer Jojo Diaz fight next, and I fucking hate it. God, I'll put it this way: for all of you out there talking about Gervonta Davis fighting blown up featherweights, keep that same energy. Rob, were you about to play a soundbite? Look like you're about to play a soundbite. That's the face you make, by the way. I hope you know that.
Oh, it is? I don't know.
There is a face you make when you play soundbites. At
least you only know that face.
Anyways, Saddam Ali.
This is great banter. It really is.
Saddam Ali versus Anthony Young. Lamont Roach Jr. versus Jonathan Oquendo. John Ryder versus Belal Akaway for the vacant WBA Who Gives a Fuck belt. And some other guys.
Wait, which one is it? Is it the vacant gold? The vacant, what is it? Which vacant is it?
interim.
Yeah, all right. Number 5 on the scale, is it?
I don't know, man. Where does gold place in the scale? Do we know yet?
I think it's just below the regular. I don't know. Maybe it's below the interim. I don't know. Ask Joe Joyce. He loves it.
No one knows. But yeah, the card itself. I mean, you obviously see a lot of Golden Boy names on it that are getting some obvious showcases. Good for them. Have fun with the showcases. I'm here for the main event.
Do you feel this would have been a better undercard had it been an actual pay-per-view and not the zone? No, a Golden Boy cards generally this kind of
Pay-per-views generally aren't that good. And think about this, like, how is any different from like the run of the mill not Showtime Sky pay-per-view circa 2016, 2017, right? With AJ at the top in a big fight. You have all your prospects and a relative tune-ups on the undercard. That's just sort of the algorithm in promoters' minds for a pay-per-view card. You put the big fight with all the money invested in the top. Yeah, that's Canelo versus Jacobs. That's AJ versus Parker, whatever that comparison would be. And the undercard, it's all the Anthony Fowlers, the Joe Cordinas, the Josh Kellys, the Virgil Ortiz, the Saddam Ali's. I know Saddam Ali's not a prospect, but it's the name. It's your A side. It's the names in your stable.
What about the quote? Katie Taylor unifying.
Sure.
Things like that.
Yeah, but that's John Ryder, Belil Akaway versus the vacant WBA interim strap. Like, yeah, you can find. They're gonna find a belt somewhere like they can put on the undercard. Great, awesome.
Well, it was supposed. Ryder was supposed to be an eliminator, right? I believe for Callum Smith's super middleweight belt. I think. Just saying.
It's the WBA, man. They do every time you've sent me the Michael Benson update from the WBA, I'm just like, why? Like of all the sanctioning bodies that release the new orders, right? The new I forget what they call them. Not rankings, but like the new sort of here's what we want, right? We want these fights to be the eliminators for these guys, blah blah blah. Here's the order of the divisions for the next 6 months, year. WBAs I always throw out like instantly. The WBC though, I kind of pay attention to because some of that stuff does happen, but WBA, nah, fuck that. Get it out of here. We don't need it. But any thoughts on the undercard here, Rob? Virgil Ortiz, Joseph Diaz, even the Tevin Farmer, Jojo Diaz fight. That's not arguably. It is being built up.
No. Obviously, Ryder. Let's go UK. I'm glad he got to fight on the card still. It was kind of he's looking forward to obviously a big show and so at least he's still on there, not against Lemieux, which would have been a good name on the record if he was to come away victorious. But obviously Ortiz, just purely for Gary, I'll tune in and see how he fares, so I can give him my full opinions. I'm not going to be probably up to watch all of these fights. Possibly get me for the main event, but yeah, it's not got me like stoked. Just like I wouldn't expect a lot of Americans to get stoked over a UK pay-per-view card with the names further down the list, because you don't know them and I don't know too many of yours, so that's how it goes. But that's where the zone is coming in, you get to see the UK cards, we're getting to see, so hopefully we'll meet David Brent style and bring it all together in one big boxing community where we all get along.
Fuck that. Well, I like the Thunderdome. I like when we just are at each other's throats and want to murder each other about whether Ortiz is ducking AJ and shit like that. That's what I love about boxing.
Yeah, Spartan!
Tyson, turn it down there. Let's very fast, very very quickly break down this ESPN card because why is this happening? The main event's not bad. Like
Bob Arum didn't know dick about promoting.
He doesn't. He maybe did at one point. Not today. Artur Beterbiev versus Hot Rod Rad. You know what? I'm just not. Today's not the day, guys. You get to hear me fuck up a name. Just not gonna try it. Hot Rod. Artur Beterbiev versus Hot Rod. Hot Rod famously fought Marcus Brown, where he arguably beat him and has been largely inactive since then. I love the fight, even though I think he could have expedited a. Oh, sorry, Zulu. Just saw that. Even though you could have expedited a Beterbiev Kovalev fight, you could have expedited Beterbiev, in my opinion. Like, you could have fast tracked him instead of just a Hot Rod fight, which does nothing for him in a competing event with a Canelo fight card. Like, that just doesn't make a lot of sense. And Yaron Ancajas in the co-main event versus Ryuichi Funea. Don't care about that fight at all. Ryuichi has lost to everyone that has ever been relevant, and even people that haven't been relevant throughout his career. I think this is a tune-up since Ancajas looked awful in his last fight and looked really poor. Yeah, that's about it. There's other fights on this card that are there. Cool. Don't care about them. Rob, your thoughts on this ESPN card?
I'm not really that bothered by it. It is what it is. Maybe if Beterbiev would have stayed with his own, he might have been on this card. Who knows? It would have been on the bigger card, I mean. But yeah, up against a Canelo fight, I'm sure it'll still do kind of decently. It's on ESPN. Not everyone's going to have the zone. So, yeah, I guess everyone can't sit and wait a week, for their fight date. It's going to clash somewhere, right?
Or move it to a fucking Friday.
True. Not in LA, though. Whew. Rough. You can nowhere get near sellouts on a Friday
This
in LA.
isn't in LA. It's in California, but it's not LA.
I'm just saying. You don't get...
But it's not LA. I know.
You're trampling all over me.
But the joke's not a good joke. I mean,
you said or on a Friday. I said, especially not in LA. Whether it could have been in fucking Canada. I'm just saying, don't put a fight card on a Friday in LA. Jesus, tough crowd, mother. Come on, Mike.
Anyways, I don't give a shit about this card. I really don't. Sorry. Okay. Top Rank has been really struggling this year. Like, of all of the big sort of conglomerates in boxing, like the PBC side, the Matchroom side, or I should say the DAZN side, because DAZN is more than just Matchroom, so that includes World Boxing Super Series, Golden Boy, and then the ESPN side with Frank Warren and now Top Rank. They've been struggling. I don't know how they switch it up. I don't know if they just need to start making better fights, and if it's that easy, or they need to figure out how to properly use the medium that is ESPN, because putting certain fights on ESPN Plus, putting certain fights on pay-per-view, just doesn't make sense. Just doesn't from a business standpoint.
Showtime, I believe, will be really hoping Wilder Brazil does some good numbers.
It will.
Because they've been dropping with every card, but hoping for a better second half of the year, right?
But that's why I said PBC, because Fox has been great.
Yeah.
Fox, like, even though there's been a couple cards that have done really oddly bad numbers, like the Lamont Peterson Sergey Lipinets fight did 250,000 viewers, right? Did something really weird on FS1, which is a smaller network than Fox, guys. It has around 70 million subscribers, I think, somewhere around that range. I know it's more than like the HBO in terms of the domestic, but it's not as much as ESPN. I know that. So it's between 45 million, 50 million, and 88 million, 80, 89 million, 90 million, wherever ESPN is at nowadays. It's in the high 80s.
It's in 300 million homes, I thought.
But anyways, I forgot what I was going to say.
Numbers on PBC.
Oh yeah, PBC is still doing great numbers overall. Like on Fox, their pay-per-views have been successful. So PBC as a whole is doing great. We have to say that, even though all the PBC haters don't like that, they happen.
Not that I hate it. I just the Showtime ones have dropped.
I didn't say Showtime. I said PBC.
All right. Well, where are PBC fights held? On Showtime, right?
Most of their fight cards have been held on Fox this year, dude.
But my initial thing was just saying Showtime.
But I understand that. That's what I said. I'm not talking about Showtime. Showtime hasn't had a great year. I'm not arguing that, Rob. I'm agreeing with you on that. Showtime has not had a great year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fully agreeing with you. But I'm saying that is not my point. My point is PBC. Because PBC is bigger than Showtime. They've had, 4 cards on Showtime this year?
Mm-hmm. Something like that.
Something like that. I know it's less than 5, I believe. I think they've had Laura Castano, Gervonta Davis, the other Ruiz.
Yeah.
What else have they had? Fucking
Shields.
Hammer, but that's not PBC. But that's Showtime. Just for argument's sake, throw it in there.
Yeah.
Even though it's not PBC, we're throwing it in there. Nothing has really done great numbers for them. Obviously, Wilder.
Easter, Baphomet.
Oh, that's right. That did pretty pedestrian numbers for them, but that was kind of assumed.
340 something, was it?
Yeah, the average for the main event, not for the whole card. For the main event was like 343. But that was kind of to be expected. There was no title fight on the card, had no build up, no hype.
That's what I'm saying. I think they'll be getting some of the, the names that have been on Fox. Looks like they'll perhaps be switching over to Showtime.
But even then, my point is like PBC's success is no longer tied to Showtime.
No.
You know what I mean? That's why most of their cards have been on Fox or FS1.
But do you see a scenario where the people that, I don't know, higher up the chain that say, Stephen Espinoza, here's your budget. What are we getting? The views are tailing off. I know Wilder's going to come in and make it go like 1 point whatever million or something. But then after that, they'll be hoping to get the bigger names, I guess, from PBC on there because, the numbers are just slightly dropping in increments each time. I'm not saying, haha, Showtime, it's
it's just reality that you need a return on your investment. They did just triple their budget last year.
Something like that.
They now have a budget of like 60 million plus or something like that, some absurd number when they had a former budget of like 20 something million.
Yeah.
It makes sense that they would get some of these Showtime names later on. But it does also sound like certain promotions within PBC are like tied to Showtime in a sense. Like a lot of Mayweather's fighters seem like they're more Showtime than Fox. So I don't know how it's going to be divvied up, but there's going to have to be some sort of not probationary period, but like they have to work it out for a period of time, like PBC is in terms of like how they divvy up their content, whether it's Showtime and Fox. But digressing from that, let's run through the news today if we can. Jose Ramirez was interviewed by TBV and said and confirmed that Eddie Hearn has sent the offer, which he told to us in the media scrum for Rungs vs. Estrada, that negotiation is still ongoing. That is, not the fight's happening, but the negotiation's happening. That's a good sign. I hope the fight does get made. I'll be pretty admittingly doubtful that we get it, because I don't know if DAZN and Eddie Hearn, after they not let Hooker, but they were outbid by ESPN for the Saucedo Hooker fight, for them to also give them Hooker for a Ramirez fight. You know what I mean? There is some positives for sending Hooker over to ESPN for this fight. It's a lot of eyeballs on your DAZN fighter, so it's like a commercial for you in a sense, put in that way, in that context. But that's the silver lining in it. I think if you're DAZN, you've now invested into Hooker multiple times. You've sent him over for ESPN for one of Bob Arum's fighters. I think you sort of are you have some hard lines about what network this is on. I think that's going to be an issue. I think Bob Arum's going to play nice in the sand because he doesn't. But let's hope it does happen. Let's hope the fight does happen. It's a great fight, especially if in the meantime with the World Boxing Super Series going on, if we now get another unification outside of it, that's awesome. That's great for boxing. And if it means DAZN and ESPN are working together, another really good positive for the sport of boxing. But again, doubtful that it actually materially happens. Rob, your thoughts?
Yeah, I could see it getting made, and it's just where it lands, I suppose. I don't know. Maybe there will be a bit of come on, Hooker came over to you. Do return
if that's not a line in the negotiation process, then come on, DAZN.
Yeah,
like that's cliche. You can use that one for free. You don't have to charge. Like I won't charge you. Just use it.
No, take your cut, Matt. Take your cut.
I already take my cut, man. You don't know that.
Slightly bringing it back to the Canelo card. I think today at the undercard press conference, Ortiz, Gary's boy, said after this fight he wants to take on Hooker in Texas, and I believe Eddie talked of, I think it was July maybe, a card in Texas. So I don't know, maybe that's a sort of fallback plan if they can't make the Ramirez fight. I don't know, but I think he's been promised a hometown fight, Hooker. So we'll see. I guess there's an option. So, but yeah, I hope unifications. We all want to see, who's the best out of all these champions that we've got. So I hope they make it.
Agreed. Moving on. Remember, call in 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue. Skype, Mixed Combat Radio. Quick little news blurb. Jarrett Hurd versus Julian J-Rock Williams is picked up by ITV. Thought that was good because there hasn't been a real one-to-one connection with ITV and PBC's content. You know what I mean? Like it seems like there's a disconnect there, but this is a great fight. I think the rest of this card, from what I remember about the card, is really good too. So I'm glad you guys are getting it in the UK. It's easy access for you guys. And plus, even though this is innately a in-between fight, in a sense for Jamel Charlo to get his belt back and for them to make Jarrett Hurd versus Jamel Charlo, right? That's what PBC wants. This is still a great fight. Like I still love Hurd versus J-Rock. I think that makes so much sense in the world. And J-Rock has only, I think, done the best he can since that loss from Jamel Charlo. Has only one fight since then, so credit to him. Rob, thoughts on ITV picking up Hurd, J-Rock?
Yeah, glad. Yeah, want to see more of Hurd. So yeah, ITV. Press record, catch it in the morning. I don't think I'm going to stay up for that one, but I definitely, knowing it's there, I can just record it, catch up with it. All good. I'll be able to actually give my take on it instead of blagging it like I normally do.
But let's run through these topics. I'm going to just go through them. Oscar Valdez versus Eric. I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name. Close for June 8th in Reno on ESPN.
So another one up against the DAZN card.
It's bullshit.
Such bullshit. This is awful. This fight's bad. What's it competing against? What's June
8th? Triple G and Steve Rolls.
Okay. This is going to win still. Let's be honest here, guys. Easter Bartholomew, like Rob said, the triple header peaked at 343. I think for the main event, the rest of the card, I forget what the number did, but it didn't do great.
17, something like that.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't watch. You don't need to. Joe Joyce, May 18th, he'll be fighting, which is turning into another really hectic day for us combat sports fans. May 18th, he'll be fighting Alexander Ustinov. Woohoo! Michael Hunter's leftovers. That's what Joe Joyce needs to really step up that career, right, ladies and gentlemen? And of course, O'Hara Davis. You guys love him over there, right? fighting Miguel Vasquez June 28th in York Hall.
Yeah.
Not a bad name.
Josh Taylor's dispatched both of those with ease. So.
Yeah, but that's why I think it's not a bad matchup. You know what I mean? Like, it makes sense. Like, they both lost to Josh Taylor. Miguel Vasquez has been there with a lot of guys. Both guys sort of need this fight, and also the loser of it can definitely go away for a very long time, and we don't need to see them ever again. And the winner gets another, road back to redemption, in a sense. So I'm all in favor of it. But any last thoughts on any of those news topics? Joyce, Usmanov, Easter's numbers, Oscar Valdez being completely mishandled by Top Rank.
On the Joyce thing, I don't see it's sort of being spoke of as a step up or anything like that. It's not. I think we've seen the better days of Usmanov. I don't think he's anywhere near that anymore. I expect Joyce to do what he done to Stavern.
That's the crazy part here. Hold on, is that he's saying it's a step up, and Usmanov, and correct me if I'm wrong here, has never won a belt, even a vacant belt. So, Frank Warren, the UK's Bob Arum. I feel so bad for you guys over there, man.
He challenged once for the WBA heavyweight title in 2017.
But that was probably a regular belt, let's be honest.
More than likely.
If it doesn't say super.
It doesn't say super.
Then it's the regular.
Yeah.
That's how they trick you. They don't say just the regular belt. They just leave the regular out.
He lost a unanimous decision to Mahmoud Shah. Sorry, Mahmoud Shah.
That's right. Anyways, let's go to callers. Unless you have any thoughts.
One thing. Carl Froch has turned up in Las Vegas today and told Eddie Hearn in front of all the media that he will come out of retirement for a trilogy fight with George Groves. But it's always hard to tell whether or not he's trolling or not. But just there you go. Just thought I'd bring that up. Froch Groves 3 in front of 80,000 fans at Wembley Stadium.
On a pound for pound list, like top 10 of like most annoying people in the sport, Carl Froch does a really, really bad job of not being in that list. You know what I mean? Like, there's times where I feel like, oh, he's all right. I can deal with Carl Froch. And then, nope, he puts his foot in his mouth, says the stupidest fucking thing ever. Or it's just like annoying, right? Like, just like he's aggravating to your ears to listen to at times. Like, he makes your ears want to bleed. He's not obviously as obnoxious 24/7 as Adrian Broner, but Carl Froch is pretty obnoxious, guys. I just want to point that out. Just want to put that into the universe.
No, I can understand where you're coming from.
He's annoying. Love him as a fighter. I think he's a fantastic fighter. Super entertaining throughout his career. But, God, so annoying as just a human being. Like, he's definitely one of those guys you don't want to have a beer with. You know what I mean? Like Dave Allen. Would love to have a beer with that guy, right? Carl Froch? Nope. I'm good. Even if he buys me the beer, I'll say, I'm good, mate. And I'll just walk away.
By the way, fight announced: Tony Harrison versus Jamal Charlo 2, WBC Super Welterweight, June the 23rd, Mandalay Bay, Las Vegas.
I didn't hear what you said. Sorry.
Oh, fight announced: Tony Harrison versus Jamal Charlo 2,
yes.
The rematch. WBC Super Welterweight title.
The rematch.
June the 23rd, Mandalay Bay, Las Vegas. There you go. June 23rd. What else is that? That's something else. Is that Fury? No.
No. Isn't Fury June 8th?
No, that's Triple G.
No, I think Fury's also on June 8th, isn't he? I think Tom Schwartz is on the same day as Fury as Triple G rules.
In the chat, I'll tell us, but Fury Schwartz. I'll find it.
Oh yeah, the fight that we all care about.
Yeah, I'll find it. Oh, 15th.
Oh, I was wrong.
Yeah.
That's usual. That's not normal. I mean, that is normal. Let's go to callers. Because we only have one.
Oh, well, everybody hit the thumbs up for our one caller.
Yeah, and it's arguably
pound for pound,
my favorite caller, to be honest.
Oh, it's not Gary then.
Yeah, it's definitely not Gary.
Oh God.
No. To be fair, Gary, I do love when you call because I always know I'm in for a debate, even if it's a one-sided debate every time. I do love debating. So
and it's always
this is great banter. It really is.
Well, I know who it is just from the build-up you gave it. This is Zulu.
Yep, Zulu.
Pound for pound.
Salute MCR family. How we doing today?
Good. How are you?
Hey, I'm gonna salute the people in the chat. Boy, they get in the chat. They're real chatty today. I'm trying to tell them why don't they call in and support their position. And anybody listening, if you're in the chat, why don't you call into the show after you give it a thumbs up, of course, and defend your opinion, whatever it may be. But shout out once again to you guys in the chat. And Matt, shout out to you and Rob. Fool, I know you out there. Shout out. Hey, let's talk real quick about Ortiz in the camp. How do I feel? Rob, I am gutted, mate. I'm gutted. You know why? Because his promotional team dropped the ball. And it makes him look real bad. I mean, is this a duck or is it just, to tell the truth, is it incompetence on that side? I think I'm leaning more towards it being an incompetent decision. Or the other side of that could be possibly, okay, maybe there's more money on the horizon for him and Wilder rematch. Possibly, maybe it is. But to me, that's kind of like counting chickens before they hatch. Maybe the $7 million, if he was ready, should have been the position he took. But from listening to the interview with Jay Jimenez, they said they wanted that fight. He said Ortiz, they wanted it. They feel that they missed out by not taking it. So I got to go with the understanding that Ortiz was ready. He was ready, and he wanted to fight, but somehow his promotional team dropped the ball, and that's sad. And that if you do something like that in corporate America, automatically somebody's fired because you've just compromised $7 million. So from what we know, and I'm saying all of this stuff, please take it with a grain of salt because we don't know everything. We just know what's been leaked out to us. Eddie Hearn gave out the information about $7 million. I'm pretty sure he didn't lay no contract in front of nobody and go through every detail about it. Pretty sure he didn't do that. But still, $7 million was a lot of money. Well, a decent amount of money. Let's put it that way. And according to Jay Jimenez, they wanted it. They wanted to fight. Him and Ortiz wanted to fight. Well, the promotional team decided to do something different. So with that, that's a big mistake. It makes Ortiz look bad. But is it a duck? How can that be a duck? I don't think that's a duck. I think it's more of an incompetent move, according to the information we have on the team of Ortiz. I wouldn't call it a duck. But, people are going to say it's a duck. Now, I want to ask Rob. Rob, do you think, after hearing both sides, Eddie Hearns and Jay Jimenez, we heard both sides of this, what do you think? What can you really decipher out of that? And can you call that a duck?
I was going to troll and go, yeah, he's a duck. But no, all joking aside, I'm not going to sit back and say fighters don't want to fight other fighters. I think the business always comes into it more. I think on this occasion, his promotional side have got greedy, and they're also spinning it that there's more money. We've got this offer we've got this offer here for the Wilder fight on pay-per-view or whatever it'll end up being. But is it going to be $7 million from Wilder's side? I can't see it. When on paper he was offered, he got $500,000. On paper we can maybe double that or maybe a little bit more. So 1 million, 1.25, something like that in total for the Wilder first fight. When that's going to jump to 7, I don't see it. I think his promotional side have done him today.
Well, what about and Matt? I want you to join in at any time, brother. Just kind of like he did with Tyson Fury, he went 50-50 down the middle of the road with Tyson Fury. Is that a possibility with Ortiz? Because Tyson Fury, he wound up pretty good, you know.
It
after
would
that
be
kind of deal.
if Wilder offered Ortiz a 50-50 contract, that would be so bad. Like, that would be such bad management or promotion or whatever sort of adjective we want to use to it. Like, that would be bad business. Or like, Ortiz does not deserve 50-50 with anyone in those top three. He just doesn't. Fury included. Like, he doesn't deserve that. Sorry. He didn't make 50-50 in the first fight. I forget what the split was. I think it was more like a 75-25 split. I always see something similar to that still. And even then, Ortiz is probably going to make a 20% split maybe with AJ. You know, I don't know what AJ was making, what? 30-40 million? Like, he was making.
I thought it was flat for Ortiz with AJ.
It was, but in terms of in terms of the percentage, you can still do percentages off of that. Right. So, like, the total pot of revenue that is given to the fighters, what's your cut of it? Ortiz wasn't going to make a lot either way, and Wilder, just because of the proportions of the paycheck, was going to make significantly less for that fight than the AJ fight. Is he still going to make a lot of money for a Wilder rematch? Of course.
Oh, yeah.
But he's not going to make nearly $7 million. That's not happening in any universe. Mm-hmm. Wilder, I think, would be lucky to make $7 million guaranteed for an Ortiz match. Now, could he make that on back-end money? Absolutely. Could Showtime offer him that in some other ways? Absolutely. But in guaranteed money, even Wilder's not going to make $7 million for an Ortiz fight. Not on paper.
Now,
not on guarantee.
That's a pay-per-view fight too now, right?
Yeah, but still, that doesn't mean he's going to make a lot. I mean, pay-per-view fighters don't automatically make tens of millions of dollars.
Right,
a lot.
Right.
Money goes elsewhere.
I'm basing it off of the track record. Because, like I was saying in the chat to some people, you have to admit Wilder is a very dangerous and exciting heavyweight. Whether you like him, you can call him wild, and he's all those things. But he is must-watch. Is he not? As far as the heavyweight division is concerned, he's must-watch TV. You know, and with the pay-per-view being success, you know, between him and Fury, nobody expected Fury to. I didn't think Fury deserved 50-50, screaming he's the lineal champion and all this kind of thing, you know. But I didn't think he did. But maybe, you know, his character and what he's done in the past gave him the opportunity to get that 50-50 shot. I just threw that out there about Ortiz because I'm trying to see how you make up this $7 million. What's being told to you? And I can't, as much as I'm trying to think about it, what's being told to you that you have a better offer here than taking that offer?
It's really easy. There was nothing said to Ortiz. Like it's not that Dade got the offer or Dade Promotions and Jay got the offer, then went to Ortiz. There was a discussion, and Dade convinced the team to go their way. It's pretty clear from what's been stated from both Jay and Eddie Hearn that Eddie Hearn contacted Jay. Jay went to Dade Promotions and Ortiz, and then Dade took the ball and went to the media.
Right.
That's clearly what happened here. So I don't think it's a matter of Dade Promotions telling Ortiz, hey, this is what we're going to get with Wilder, blah, blah, blah. This is how we're going to make it up. They just didn't communicate with them. They don't care.
Right. That's horrible, though, man. That's what somebody should be fired behind that, in my opinion.
And I believe Jay did say that they were going to look to sue Dade Promotions and try to terminate their deal with them. But that's going to be a process, and that's going to take some time. You know.
At least it's an action, though. You know. Yeah. But you know, also with Ruiz, because you know, I think this damages the AJ fight though. As far as Ruiz coming in, I think, and I like Ruiz. You know, if you're a hardcore boxer, you know, or Ruiz can bang. He got nice hands. He's not the most aesthetically looking, pleasing person, but we do know that he can fight. But he's just too small to me, man. He's a little too small for AJ. AJ's gonna look like a giant in there on him, keeping on into that jab. I don't see him winning it. But I think I heard you say something about was it maybe you or somebody else? You or Rob said that it's kind of the same fight as Miller, or someone in the chat may have said it.
Yeah,
it's kind of the same
similar
fight as Miller. The outcome is going to be the same. I mean, I don't see AJ losing this. No way. But could it be a fight that can, with Ruiz being the kind of fighter he is, he's kind of gritty as well. He's going to be coming right at you. He's not going to be running all over the place. Could it be a kind of fight that make people say if AJ doesn't knock him out, which would be impressive if he's able to knock him out? Well, it's going to be okay if he knocks him out, but if he makes it a hard fight, like we expected Miller to make it a harder fight. We all knew AJ would win. We all felt that way, but we felt that he would make it a hard, grueling fight. I don't think Ruiz can make it that hard of a grueling fight as Miller. And I might have said this before, I'm not sure, but I just want to get your opinion on that. What do you think about it? You and Rob think about that part?
Rob?
You're able to...
Sorry, just my headphones went a little bit crazy then. What was the last bit you said there?
Yeah, I was saying about the fight with Ruiz and AJ. Does Ruiz have, enough, or is he big enough, first of all, to try to even impose himself on AJ and to make it a hard fight, something that may go to a decision or something like that, a split decision? Because we thought Miller would be able to at least do that, to give him a harder, grinding type of a fight. Do you think that Ruiz can give him that same type of fight?
I feel like this might be a little bit like the Povetkin fight, where early on Ruiz could maybe catch AJ a little cold, make him a little bit uncomfortable, come in with like some looping shots and sort of get inside a little bit. But I feel once AJ utilizes his size, his reach, and starts to time everything, we'll see him just dispose of Ruiz. Right. That's how I see it. I think at some point AJ's size, because I felt in the Povetkin fight, he kind of crouched up a little bit. He tried to come down to Povetkin, and once he actually started using his height a little bit and his reach, he started measuring him and really.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking too. But no, it's definitely not a degraded fight. I think it holds the same value that Miller fight. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what do you think about that, man? I think is this a degraded fight?
It's the same competitive value as the Miller fight, if not a better competitive value than the Miller fight. But the same 1-to-1 value as the Miller fight, no. The Miller fight was actually going to, I think, get them subscribers.
Yeah.
They were going to do a late sort of notice press tour as well on fight day. They're in New York City for the fights, easy. They're going to be on the Breakfast Club. They're going to be everywhere. On Ebro in the morning, they're going to go all the morning shows like Good Morning America. The late night shows are all there. ESPN headquarters is an hour up the street from Manhattan. I mean, they could have done a lot, and I don't think Ruiz is going to do the same.
He doesn't have that character.
No,
he's not that kind of a character like Miller would to bring the attention to the fight.
Yes,
for a lot of casuals who don't know who is who, but everybody seems to be attracted to brash talk. So when that's one thing that Miller does the best to me, because he talks like he's a superstar, but he in my opinion, he's not. He's a decent fighter, but we were dependent on what we know about him to make it an exciting fight as long as it lasted. But with that, going on to the fight this weekend, Canelo and Jacob, man, I'm gonna tell you something about Jacob. My only problem with him is that when I see that, every time I revisit him with that Triple G fight, how he just couldn't pull the trigger enough. It looked like he got to the point where as long as he seemed like he wanted to just go to 12 rounds with Triple G and thought that was enough. He just never stepped on the gas. Do you think he can step on the gas against Canelo? Because Canelo is you have to admit, is getting better. He's not staying the same. He's getting better and better. What's your thoughts, Matt?
I agree. I agree with what I think Rob even said that earlier. Like he's peaking. Like we're finally seeing Canelo that's in his prime. Yeah. We've never seen that. Even way back with Mayweather, with Ezra Laura, like he was a young guy. He was 22, 24 years old. Now he's 29.
A baby.
He's 28 right now. I think he's 28. So my God.
I mean, I think he is only getting better. Canelo is pound for pound the number one guy in boxing. Without doubt.
Right. You got to say that. You might like other fighters, but you got to be real. Who has a resume like Canelo Alvarez? Look at the resume. It's not another fighter out there that got one like him.
It's crazy,
that's
right?
Active.
It's crazy, man. So that's why when I hit his pound for pound list, how do you not have as much as I like Triple G, you can't compare him to Canelo. You really can't, honestly. Can you? No. You got to be on another level of thinking to think that. As much as I like, damn, did I say Triple G? I'm getting old, man. I'm losing my damn train of thought. I mean, I'm talking about the Matrix.
Oh, Lomachenko.
Lomachenko, man. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yo, Fugati Summer are very upset that you did not remember Lomachenko's name.
Man, yeah. Now, Lomachenko is, if I said Triple G, but Lomachenko, much as I like him, you can't compare him to Canelo because Canelo is the resume is just totally different, man. And the one loss Canelo has was to Mayweather, and he was a pup. He was a youngster. So with that, man, I just don't see Danny Jacobs being able to handle the level that Canelo's at right now. It's going to be a good fight for a while, and I'm concerned if Jacobs can he step on the gas when he needs to, because his last fight's kind of, I was kind of like, with these guys, he should have really been getting them out of there, in my opinion. But they kind of hang around. He lets them kind of hang around a little bit. I think that's a mistake against Canelo, and you're going to have to go there and totally dominate him or knock him out to win a decision. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah.
I think Jacobs. I think Jacobs could win a decision, but he would have to box the perfect fight. He would have to really use his reach, his jab, his lateral movement, and to be honest, he doesn't really stick with that.
Fight like that.
He doesn't stick with that for long periods of time. He can fight like that in spurts, but we've never really seen him consistently do that. The closest is the Triple G fight, but even then, he would get sucked into certain engagements that he shouldn't be.
Right.
And do we see, the criticism of Canelo in the past was he doesn't fight like a Mexican. He was he would take a lot of rounds sort of off, go sort of back away and counterpunch. But we saw him come forward to someone with a great chin like Triple G and be willing to trade up. Do we see a new Canelo that just wants to try and come forward to Jacobs? Do we see him try and walk him down? I don't know. I'm really interested in it.
I'm interested because Canelo, he fought differently both times he fought Triple G, and that's showing his boxing brilliance. He's showing he can bang as well as box.
Yep.
He told the first one he tried to box, he was criticized, especially by Triple G supporters and Triple G team about him running. Well, the second time, I think Abel was talking about he ran the whole fight, the first fight. And that kind of got under Canelo's skin a little bit now. Canelo stood right there in front of him and just beat him. You got the second fight, you have to just tell the truth about that. He just beat him right there. He wasn't hard to find. He was right there for him. So that shows to me he has a variety of techniques now. It's not just a one-dimensional. It's not a one-trick pony, so to speak. He has a variety going in there, and you don't know what you're going to get. That's hard to train for. That's hard to prepare for because you don't know which one you're going to get. Any thoughts on that, man?
No, for sure. If you can be a back foot fighter, look counterpunch, or look to be slick and skillful, or you can come forward, slip shots and land, telling blows. I think we're going to see the body work the Canelo's body punching is just it's up there with David Allen. I'm messing. I'm never going to forget that David Allen shot. But no, Canelo sinking in those body shots are something else. They make you wince when you see them, right? But yeah, he seems to be able to do it all right now, and he's done that against what was supposed to be the fearsome, Triple G. But in 2 fights, he's been on the back foot and one coming forward. So right. Jacob, he's kind of. Doesn't know
if he's not on a pound for pound now. If he knocks, let's say hypothetically, he knocks Jacob out. Where would that put? He has to be on a pound for pound because who's next? Who else would you say would give him the kind of challenge at that weight class right now?
I don't know.
People
have always said, although Billy Joe Saunders has moved up a division right now. But I can't see the fight getting made. But someone who can move real well, like Billy Joe Saunders, potentially is a difficult fight in terms of, purely like landing and winning rounds convincingly against Billy Joe Saunders, if he's on point, is a very tricky fight, I think, for Canelo with all the movement. But I agree. I still think someone like a Billy Joe hasn't got the power to keep a Canelo off of him. So he would eventually cut the ring off and I think would land a telling blow. But yeah, he's just on another level at the moment and just getting better and better. So I don't know what would be next.
Right. I think it would definitely place someone there. I mean, put him over the pound for pound. I don't think it could be argued, not logically. People have their opinions, but logically it's kind of hard not to give him that pound for pound list, But with that, gentlemen, that's all I have. Once again, excellent job. Salute to you guys, Matt, Rob, Fu. I know you out there. Salute. And keep on pushing, baby.
Thanks you
very much, man.
All right.
Well, Rob, that's it for today.
It is. And
sad news to end the show, though, unfortunately.
R.I.P.
Patrick Mayhew, the actor of Chewbacca.
Peter.
Oh, sorry, I didn't have it up. I knew it was a P, man. My bad. Peter Mayhew died at 74 years old today. Sad, man. Yeah. He said R.I.P. to him. Prayers to his family, his friends. Star Wars has lost another really good OG. Sad, man.
It is. Also, I believe from, I think it's Yvonne Michelle, has said that Adonis Stevenson is doing very, very well. So obviously, that's great news. And I think a friend of yours, Matt, Sean Sattel, had a...
Yes. Thank you for reminding me about that. Sean Sattel, former colleague over at TBV. Now he works for Fight Hype. I think he also does some writing for Premier Boxing Championship as well. He had a seizure yesterday or the day before, and I had to go to the hospital. Prayers to him. Good vibes to him and his family. He's about to have a daughter. I think it's a daughter. Born like in a month or two, right? Like his girlfriend's expecting. So I just that has weighed heavy on my mind since last night, since I saw that. So thank you for reminding me to mention that on the show. Sean, hope you're doing good out there, man. Stay healthy, brother. And everyone out there, man, go see a doctor every once in a while. Like, just go get checked up. I know I'm at fault for that, as much as probably any person out there. But go get a physical. Like, go get checkups. Like, Rob, you're older. Like,
Yeah, I'm probably due a prostate check.
Yeah, I was about to say something like, it's about time, like.
Yeah.
In today's age, man, things happen and things happen quick. Go make sure you're safe, both healthy, mentally, physically, whatever, man. Whether it's mental health, whether it's physical health, go be healthy. Go to a doctor, whatever sort of doctor that may be.
But yeah, I think I've communicated a few times with Sean. I know he's had a whole bunch of well wishes from, like Eddie Hearn, Dougie Fisher, all these guys. And I think it's, I've seen Sean thanking everybody and he's determined to be back ready for fight night. But that must have been not a good moment. I think it was at the press conference or something actually during fight week. So, but yeah, hope all's good and everything's fine. And enjoy the fight. I hope you get there because I know you want to do your work, get those exclusives and all this, that, and the other. So fingers crossed for you, man. But yeah, everybody in the chat, thanks as always for being here. Share the show, hit that thumbs up, tell at you Team YouTube, put the pressure on, get Mixed Combat Radio monetized. Let's start doing this. I'm applying for press conferences and fight nights over here. Matt's done his thing already just recently for Estrada Rungvisai, or vice versa, whatever. But pretty sure Matt's not going to go too far afield because it's just purely money. So let's hope there's another card in LA pretty soon. So yeah, I don't know how far the hipster's going to go to get
LA.
That's
where I'm going. If Vegas for the big one, but that's going to cost me a lot of money that NCR does not pay for. So Patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio. $1 a month gets you tons of hours of extra shows, both boxing related, MMA related, and also like other things related. Like we're gonna do a Game of Thrones review tonight because Fugatti had like some tornado that hit his house or something.
He's got shitty internet, whether it's fucking.
Yeah, I know. But dude, when he said tornadoes, I was dying on the group message, man. When he said like, "Oh yeah, we have tornadoes," I'm like, "What the fuck? Who has tornadoes?" I guess move. If the wind is coming down and swirling around and sweeping like cows and shit up in the air, move. That's not the place for human beings to live.
I hope the tornado doesn't pick up his car and move it somewhere, and he wakes up and thinks someone's stolen that one as well.
You mean the rollerblades, man? Come on.
Yeah, where's my rollerblades? Someone stole my rollerblades.
Anyways, find me, Matt Hunter, MCR, all platforms. Rob?
UK Rob, MCR, Instagram and Twitter.
Peace.
Stay off the weed. That's stupid. Use
90 seconds.
You piece of shit. I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you.
Hey, pussy, are you still there?
This is great banter. It really is.